Looking for excitement? Chumba Casino is here. Play anytime, play anywhere. Play on the train, play at the store, play at home, play when you're bored. Play today for your chance to win and get daily bonuses when you log in. So what are you waiting for? Don't delay. Chumba Casino is free to play.
Experience social gameplay like never before. Go to Chumba Casino right now to play hundreds of games, including online slots, bingo, Slingo, and more. Live the Chumba life at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
So first,
Absolutely.
and I was like,
let's dig it all up.
oh, no.
True.
You'll never guess.
So sidebar. Yes.
And also, I feel like I shouldn't have to remember everything.
I know.
Actually, I have to talk about this.
3, 2, 1.
Hi, everyone.
Hey.
I'm Alicia.
And I'm Meredith.
And this is Also Podcast, our regular programming where we talk about whatever we want. And I made notes this week because I didn't have notes last week. I talked out of my ass. But this week, I got notes. I got things to discuss.
Oh, I do too.
I'm
so excited to talk about one topic with you.
Okay, well, should we just... Well, okay, before we get started, really quick. If you could never get tired of us, we have a TikTok, an Instagram, a Patreon, a YouTube. They're all in our description. Go check them out. And also, please be sure to rate, review, and subscribe. Okay, Meredith, I can't wait another second. Give me your small celebration.
This describes a little bit of an explanation, but this weekend, my friend turns 30, and we're going to the medieval times for his birthday. And we're all dressing in, like, full costume, obviously. And he loves sports. He loves sports betting. And so me and a few friends worked on some prop bets for medieval times, and we sent it out to like the party blast, and he like sent his girlfriend a text saying like, I've never been like so seen or so loved. And I was like, I just like love knowing him so well, and I'm so excited to celebrate him. So just like that intimacy of friendship, which I feel like we just talked about Summer House, which is wild.
Mm-hmm. Wait, that's so cute. What a win.
I'm excited
Medieval
about
Times
it.
is so fun.
I
feel like
never
a lot of people
been.
have their adult birthdays there. A lot of my friends have done that. I've only gone as a kid, and then one time I was a camp counselor for a summer, and so we took the kids. I would love to say that was a lot of fun, but it wasn't because I got I was put in charge of the group with the 2 kids that had all these allergies, so I had a bag of EpiPens, and I had to be like, don't eat the chicken leg. I don't know if it has oregano on it.
Oh my God. No, I've never been. I had to like research so much to be able to like make these prop bets, so I like know what's coming. But my friend group loves a good bit too. So like everybody's looking up lingo. Like the girlfriend of the guy like bought all these chalices for the pre-party. We're taking a party bus out there, like the whole shebang.
Oh my God, I love that. There's also a medieval time-esque thing in Dolly World in Tennessee if you want to go, but instead of like the red knight versus the blue knight, it's the north versus the south. And everyone boos the north, and we were luckily when we went put on the north side, and we were the only ones cheering for the north. It was very awkward. Our server told us we should probably stop. And this was 2010 maybe. This was a long time ago.
I'm so thrilled that I didn't go whenever I was in like the Gatlinburg area with my family. I could not handle that.
No. They do north versus south, and the south always wins. Spoiler.
No comment.
We're rewriting history. Oh, it was hilarious.
What is your small celebration this week?
I never have one. My pessimistic ass. You know what? No. It's March Madness, baby. The women are killing it. Prayers and thoughts to Juju Watkins. That was a terrible ACL tear. Yeah. Oh, you hate to hear it. Luckily, but she's only a sophomore. She can come back from this. She still has 2 more years, 3 if you want to do the 5th year. It was hard to watch though. I stayed up. Everyone picture me. It's a Sunday night. I'm like, this game doesn't start till 10 Eastern. I got to go in the office tomorrow.
Exhausting.
But I got to watch the beginning of this game. I just got to see USC go away with it. In the first quarter, this happens to Juju, and I'm like, well, now I got to stay up to know if she's okay.
So that's just so heartbreaking. Like that being the end of your season.
It is heartbreaking. Again, it would be more heartbreaking if she was like a senior. She's not, but The girls are killing it. Let me tell you, great games happening right now. Great matchups. I love a good upset. Oh my God, I watched a game that went into double overtime. That was fun.
I know, you texted me about that and was like, turn this on
I was
now.
like, turn it on. Any sports fan would have liked that. Like it.
Oh my God, yeah.
When I tell you there wasn't even a team that at one point had like 5 points more than the other. It was always a one possession game. And I was sitting there like, no one can just give me a little, like, I didn't even care who won. I was just like, oh my God, this is crazy.
That's the thing. It's like, what's so great about the like end of basketball on both sides is that both men's and women's is that it's just so enjoyable to watch good basketball happening. And I feel like basketball is a sport that the matchups are just so different. The like different teams are so different. So one matchup like with one set of team and like that team playing another, like it can constantly change whether it's man-to-man defense or, you know, like different teams playing give you such a different result. And it's so exhilarating to watch it play out. It's so
crazy. And I'm going to say like people who like football and baseball and like those are like everything else is a great sport too, but basketball moves so fast that you go in with a game plan and you have to adapt to your your opponent so quickly. And the best thing about basketball is sometimes people are hot and sometimes they're not, and you never know, and you got to figure it out, and you don't have time to figure it out.
When they put up the scoring drought of a team and it's been like 3 minutes, you're like, oh my God, like they're being iced out. Like, can they turn it around? Like, or is this going to continue? Like, what's going to happen? Can they just like have a burst of energy and get it? Like, what is going to happen next? It's like 8 minutes in a game is so much time. And then you're like, the clock is ticking down and you're just like watching either like a team lose it, a team win it, a team come back. There's just something can always happen.
The best too, like, okay, this game that went to double overtime, literally it had to be the first overtime, I think. Maybe it was the second. I don't even remember. But it was either at the end of the fourth or at the end of the first overtime. One team was up by 3 points. And so the other team, there was like 1.1 seconds left. So the other team has to just get a 3-pointer out, right? Like, impossible.
But like turn and shoot, like no time to waste.
Don't foul. That's the best I can give you. As an ex-basketball player, that's the only thing to do. And the girl shooting the 3 gets fouled and makes all 3 free throws. And that's why I was like, oh my God, it's crazy. Because, I mean, she's either going to make it or not. But isn't it better? My coach always used to say, I'd rather have them hit the 3 than them hit an easy layup or get free throws. And I was
yes, because also with free throws, it just leaves a bigger question mark because a lot of times you'll see it where like a team is down 2. And if you foul on that free throw or that 3-pointer,
you give them 3 shots.
They could win the game. And even if not, like fouling on a 3, they could miss that last one and make a bucket right after. Like there's just so much variability within some free throws. I love it. Oh, goodness.
And March Madness, if you like good basketball, you're just going to watch a game. You don't care who wins. You're just like, it's amazing. But I also want to shout out my girl, Paige Beckers. There's a U, but the U is silent. Paige Beckers. She is obviously still in the tourney. I'm rooting for UConn. I think she's hungry for it. I have fallen down Paige Beckers' TikTok. Not just her TikTok, but like everyone who makes edits on her.
Yeah.
I'm deep in UConn TikTok. And her teammate, AZ Fudd, there's a lot of speculation that they might be dating. Well, obviously, we don't know. But people make edits of them. But here's the other thing, is they've been friends since high school when they were in Minnesota together. Like, they would play with each other, against each other. So then Paige, I think AZ had a knee injury. So I think they're the same-ish age, but AZ showed up at UConn after Paige because Paige was recruiting her and basically said, like, you don't want to play against me. You might as well play with me because I know your game. So she's like, I know your game. I'll destroy you. Damn. And so AZ came to UConn and they're best friends. And they both have had terrible knee injuries, so they've never really played together in like a March Madness tournament because one's always been out. Not this year, baby. They're playing. AZ hits those threes. She got injured in one of the games. And then she got right back up, but the clock didn't stop because she got like back up, but you could tell her knee hurt. So Paige, you saw her reaction was like really nervous, kept trying to get the ball to call a timeout, but like couldn't seem to get it. And eventually like they go from defense to offense, and then someone passes AZ the ball. She just shoots it up, gets a 3, and then is walking down the court because her knee hurts. So Paige like grabs the ball at some point and calls a timeout. And it's like, are you okay? God. And AZ's like, I'm fucking fine. I just hit that 3. But you could tell AZ was also scared because, like, a knee injury is nothing to you gotta be
play
careful.
around with. That's not something you can just like rest for a game either. Like,
yeah. I also just wanna. I didn't know this, but UConn, all their games have been free to students, and this year for March Madness, UConn decided to charge students entry access. So Paige bought out 1,500 seats, so students could come see them watch like her last home games at the court.
Really
so number 1 draft pick for the WNBA. She's coming out strong. She's a good person. Oh, I love them. I love you. I'm in UConn lore deep, and no one likes UConn except me. So I get it.
I like it. It's hard sometimes to root in the tournament for the team that's amazing. You know, you like tend to root for underdogs. So I think that's what's difficult. But I do love the like interest piece of Paige and wanting her to win.
Yeah. That I like a senior that hasn't won yet. Like, that's why I was kind of leaning towards Iowa. Like, they had a team of seniors, and I was like, man, they're hungry for it. Like, they want it. They weren't hungry enough. Anyway.
It's difficult. It's challenging to win this tournament.
I know. It's hard because you do one bad game and you're out.
I know. That's what's so sad.
There's no option for failure. Anyway, should we get into news?
Yes, there's been a lot going on this week. Do you want to kick it off?
So much news. Yeah, you start. We'll volley. We might have some of the same stuff.
Yes. Well, let's start with some Real Housewives with Garcelle leaving. I know you and I texted about this, but what's your reaction to that? What are your feelings?
I am sad because I feel at the season finale of Beverly Hills, she said that she wants to start focusing her energy less on just having a friendship with Sutton and more on having a friendship with all the women. Yeah. So now knowing that she's gone, it's like, well, I was really looking forward to like a Garcelle one-on-one with other people besides Sutton, you know, because Sutton's like always an issue. So I'm a little sad, and it also I'm curious of the reunion because it looked like Bose and Erica have a lot of thoughts on Garcelle leaving, but didn't want to say any on Watch What Happens Live.
Yeah, and I mean, in the trailer, it looks like she walks off, and it's hard to know if she just walks off for a moment or if she like leaves the reunion that way. But I really like Garcelle as like a person, as a character on the show. We always talk about like the B characters. I don't think Garcelle's personality type is to always be the center of attention. And that's also something I love about her.
Yeah, and I think she knows how to stir or like ask the right questions though to get the producers what they're looking for.
Definitely. And I'm kind of sad that Erica said she had no storyline this season when like, what is Erica's storyline lately? Like to me, like watching Garcelle build
Girardi.
Yeah, watching Garcelle build her like family beach home, and like I actually love that. I love seeing a successful Black woman reach milestones with her family and watching her introduce her son into the modeling world. Like I love Garcelle's family and
I liked
her,
it a lot.
Holistic storylines.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. She's very fascinating. Like one of my favorite from this season was watching her son model, and then Garcelle is like there and she's like so proud. It's a very like cute family, and I want more. But I think something happens probably at the reunion where she goes, I'm done.
Yeah. And she is also busy outside of like this show. So I really appreciate her not just hanging on to the show because she needs it or wants it or needs that spotlight. Like I understand her saying like, this is also my time. I don't like how this reunion probably ended up, and I don't need this.
It's that. I wish it looked like we end on a higher note because it looks like we don't.
Yeah.
So I get that. I almost just like wish it doesn't look like she just walks away from it. Like I wish it was more of like I've grown out of this. Like, I really don't think she's leaving solely because she doesn't have time for it. I think a lot of things happened and she was like, this isn't a priority anymore.
Yes. Yeah. Well, speaking of another Beverly Hills housewife that has left,
okay.
Lisa Rinna was on Jake Shane's podcast. I didn't listen to the podcast, but I saw clips about it. And Lisa said that...
Wait, what a weird pairing.
What do you mean?
Really?
Yeah.
Jake Shane passed the puss?
He's getting more involved in like different
pairing.
pop culture guests. Yeah, I wonder if they're doing a podcast swap at all because Rinna started hers.
I think it's better because at least I know Jake Shane watches Bravo. So he's not like a Nick Viall just being an asswipe. But what a weird, that's funny. I mean, I just wouldn't take Lisa Rinna to go on like Jake just seems, and I haven't listened to his podcast, but I imagined from who I've seen be on it, it's more of like a Brittany Broski-esque kind of like podcast where it's like fun, pop culture-y, like whatever. So like, I get why Lisa Rinna would go on it, but that just I don't know why I'm like taken aback, but I love that. I'm in on it.
Well, get ready for this because one of the main things coming out of it is Lisa Rinna is saying that the Beverly Hills fans ran her off the show, and it's something that the fans don't want to take responsibility for.
I'll do it. I fucking hated you. I'm glad you're off my TV screen. That was all weird.
People are like, yeah. She was like, they villainized me. And it's like, honey, no, you were the villain, and we just commented on it. Like, you also made yourself the villain.
Yeah. I'll never forgive you for how mean you were to Kim Richards. Like, it's not. I guess
if you're going to be like mean to people, which is like kind of the job.
Own it.
Yeah. I just always think about Spencer Pratt making that his storyline. Like, you kind of want to be loved or hated, but just so passionately followed because that gives you the audience.
That'll give you the call back.
Yeah.
As long as your or your castmates don't absolutely hate you, you'll get the call back if you're a villain. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Lisa Rinna, you put all the blame on me. I don't give a fuck. Bye.
And also, like, I don't want you back if you're going to say, like, oh, I won't take responsibility when I'm just a viewer here and I'm saying my commentary back. Get off my back.
What would she bring? What would she bring at this point?
Literally nothing. Want to be the villain.
No, we don't need if you ever beg to like come back to Housewives, you're washed up enough. Like, I don't need you.
I always just think like, oh wow, you just really needed this money. Whenever like people who used to be on reality TV come back, I think about that with Denise Richards, like in her show. I'm like, did you need this money?
It's weird that Bravo would like reach out about this or like pick up this show. She must have pitched it or something. I don't know. Like half the time, I really do think though networks are at the point where they just put out thousands of things and 90% of them are bad and they're just hoping something sticks. And I feel because I follow like Peacock the closest, obviously with Bravo, I think that was a Denise Richards show where they're just like, you know what? Let's just, if it hits, it hits. If it doesn't, it doesn't. How they kind of had The Simple Life show up. And like, they're like, we'll just see if it hits. And it's like, most of the time it doesn't. But okay, thanks. And no one was that, listen, there is not one housewife that I'm that diehard a fan of that if you give me a whole show about only their personal life, I'll watch it. You know what I mean?
I agree. And there's rumors going around that Teresa Giudice is going to get her own show. I'm like, that's a lot. Also, they're like in like financial trouble apparently with their taxes.
We can talk about that. But yeah, it's like the Housewives is an ensemble for a reason. I do like seeing into your personal life, but I can't do a full hour on one housewife. I'd get bored half the time. I don't even care what you're doing in your home anyway. But yeah, I like watching it because it's fucking fascinating to see how the other half lives.
Kim Zolciak from Atlanta had her own show, but it was a 30-minute, more comedy-esque show. It wasn't an hour-long drama-type series.
Well, what's Denise Richards' show?
I don't know if it's an hour or 30 minutes. I was drunk when I watched it.
People keep trying to like recreate the Kardashians. And like a newsflash, I don't even like watching the Kardashians at this. So like Stop trying to give me that big an insight.
So many people that it ends up being an ensemble cast because there's like a million people in this family.
That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get a family that's like, we can film this family and make money off of it. But there's not a family interesting enough. The Kardashians aren't even interesting enough, and they came back for Hulu. And no one cares.
Well, yeah, that's bad because that's like an infomercial now.
Oh my God, yuck. I hate the Kardashians. Anyway, do you want to talk about Teresa really quick? I have that on my list.
Yeah. I mean,
who would have thought? Who would have thought that Louis would be a bad guy? Did you know? I, for one, am absolutely shocked. I couldn't believe I saw that and I went, not my Louis, not that guy. Not that guy who looks like
he's such a good guy.
With the rubber face, not that guy. No. The one that she purposely didn't sign a prenup for because Gia told her not to. Oh, not that guy.
You know what? I do enjoy the like slander against prenups and then the karma about prenups. Like that is a really satisfying thing.
Gia, I gotta know. Because I think Teresa would do anything Gia said. And Gia seems to have a good head on her shoulders, right? I think that interview of Gia saying she doesn't need to get a prenup. Teresa was like, I don't need a prenup. Like, I think if Gia said she should definitely get a prenup, Teresa would have considered it. Obviously, I think Louis would push back and whatever.
I think she would have taken what Gia said under advisement. But the problem is, and this isn't a bad thing about Teresa, is that I think she really cares about love and wanting it to just be for love. And I think that's wonderful, but that's not the world you live in. You're not some like podunk person. No offense to all of us podunk people like me. Like you're not a nobody with no money and nothing to think about. But even I feel like I would talk about a prenup and like look into it to see what's best for me. So why wouldn't you when you have money and children? To be honest, it's your children at stake.
It's your children. Because, like, here's the other thing, right? Even though I have nothing to my name, basically, like, no, truly, it's fine. If I were to meet someone right now, I would want some sort of prenup in there so I know I can leave with what I have current, right? Like,
but even like, I would want to put something about kids in there. Like, what would we want our kids agreement to be?
Because then, yeah, I mean, it like drives me nuts how like she didn't learn from the first one. Like it drives me nuts.
It's like fool me once, shame on you. Fool me once, shame on me. Or fool me twice, shame on me.
Well, it's like apparently, and I don't know all of the details, but like Louis has never had any money. He's been faking it. He's in so much debt. You would think after round one, when Teresa openly admitted to not knowing anything that Joe signed, she didn't know what Juicy Joe was up to. She just trusted him with the money. After that, you meet a man, you'd be like, give me all your credit card statements, show me all your I gotta know. I know, but I've already done time for it.
I think she's able to explain it away because the reason they went to jail is because they filed an incorrect bankruptcy. So that's like a really unique situation that if they're not going to file bankruptcy again, she probably thinks that nothing's going to happen in that relationship then. But actually, Louis does have no money. So like that is a real possibility, but I digress. I would not be able to just trust people's words without being involved. Like, I want to know what our financial situation is. I think like Teresa and many people, and it can be men or women, turn a blind eye if they don't do the finances in their household rather than being equally involved or at least equally aware of what's going on. So wouldn't you think she'd at least want to be equally aware? But maybe he's also lying to her, so then that adds a whole other degree.
I think he was lying to her. But this just proves that, like, okay, even if you love someone, love you, you can't trust them. You can't trust them.
People weren't out to get Teresa when they were saying things about Louis, especially her brother and sister-in-law. Like, they were trying to protect you and your girls, their family.
It's also rumored, this is just a rumor, I want to be so clear on that Gia took the podcast gig because she now they don't have money for her law school, and then this is a way for her to get some of her own
she didn't
money.
even get into law school. People are acting like she dropped out of law school. She never got in. She hasn't taken the LSAT.
I don't know. Listen,
that is true. That latter part that I just added. She's not in law school.
And she's not going anytime soon unless she can get a scholarship. So
she can take out loans like any normal person too.
She's not going to take out loans. Her family's in enough financial trouble because now Louis' debt is her mom's fucking debt.
Taking out student loans are not the same as like other debt. Like I think it also is fun to be like good debt, but yes. But being a lawyer, you would make enough money too.
As a family though, that has, gone through financial struggles, but think about Gia and her siblings. They haven't really experienced like any kind of lower class moment. Like
I think there was a moment where I bet their financial situation changed when Joe went to jail and they had all this money because they had to pay back a lot of money and like
True.
They had a lot of issues, but not living on the streets, can't afford food because they had Real Housewives of New Jersey to bring in money that they could pay their like everyday bills, but they're not like going shopping like they used to whenever
what I'm saying is we growing up were told we either have to get financial aid or loans. We grew up like that. She didn't. So now to have her whole world switched, she's probably like, I'll do the podcast and make money before I go to law school. She's not going to want to pay shit back. She's not going to want to take out a loan.
She will ever go to law school.
No, she won't.
But not because of financial. I don't think she will get a good enough LSAT. I don't think she will get into law school is what I'm saying. So that's also
went to Rutgers. Probably
not a concern. In my opinion, I think she's like, hey, social media, great. I got a good gig.
Yeah,
how can I make more money? So
look, that family is in turmoil. Good luck, Teresa, because now Louis' debt is your debt. What's mine is yours. Love, love, love. That's upsetting. That sucks. Don't trust it.
Not my problem.
No, I felt bad the first time. I don't feel bad this time. And honestly, I love when bad things happen to rich people, but this is ridiculous because you did this to yourself. Like it wasn't even karma. It was you just being naive at this point and trusting this literal serial killer. He looks crazy. He looks nuts. This man's crazy.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
All right, one more person who is having a bad time is Leva. She is also leaving Southern Charm, but there's a lot more accusations going on about her restaurants. Are you ready for this?
No, yeah, I am.
An old employee posted, I don't remember if it was on Reddit or like Facebook or where, but posted like a written comment about working for Leva. And the gist is that Will was terrible. I mean, we already know Will's terrible, but like he was kind of gropey and like rude and like would follow women to the bathroom.
Oh, ew.
Hold on, it gets worse. Not for Will. I mean, that's terrible. But Leva also didn't pay people their tips. Similar to over on Vanderpump Rules, how it used to be, they would like put all the tips together. Yeah, but they like Leva's company wouldn't pay them out for like weeks. And so it wasn't like, oh, at the end of the night, we pull all the tips and it just gets divvied up right there. Like they would take the cash. And then there's a lot of like racism and ableism that was alleged too. That like just in general, but then also with like not just their employees, but their customers again. And so like on the premiere episode of Southern Hospitality, apparently anybody in the restaurant who was like a person of color or had any type of disability was like asked to be out of frame. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
So
good luck.
I like need Leva to just stop being out and about or like apologize or like comment on this stuff because it's like getting worse slowly.
I believe it. I'm not surprised. I'm not. But I almost need like more employees to come forward because it's just going to be a he said, she said, because Leva could deny that really easily. And Bravo's not going to have whoever's back because the production, because this show's making them bank. We love Southern hospitality.
Yes.
So it's
the
like,
person also said that because she was a cast member that was considered she was an employee that was considered for the show. They had like a short list of 20 people that I think they tested out with like the pilot episode and were like filming a bunch of stuff. And Leva like told Bravo that she only wants, I forget if it was Leva or Bravo, but doesn't really matter because both parties are at fault. Like people who were actually like working class, they removed from the show. It was only about people who like already had money and like family money and didn't like need this
we could have had working class people. Those are the best.
Like the only person who was working class was Michaels, and he was only on it for one season.
Well, he's a star. He'll come back for sure. Okay, yeah. I mean, Maddie, if you ever become a DJ, you have some financial security.
Well, I mean, we saw her dad get them tickets to like the NASCAR thing. He like works for like an important company. They lived in New York their whole. Not saying that just like everybody in New York is rich, but it's hard to like sustain a family. That girlie has money.
Joe Bradley, do you think he had like made the money well, his mom and TJ's mom are friends, and TJ seems like he comes from money, so maybe Joe Bradley's got
They're definitely not struggling on a family level.
Lake's got tons of money.
Yep.
Michaels
seems working class, like works hard for his money, but we like he's new, you know. So he wasn't.
Emmy's tied to Will, and Will has money.
I think Emmy's family has a little bit of money too. Not like Will's level, but...
Anyone else I'm missing? Oh, Bradley? Does Bradley have some money?
We don't know enough about him, but...
Well, he's also a fitness trainer.
Yeah.
Bravo, give me the people who are struggling to make their rent. They have 12 roommates. They can't buy groceries for a week.
I wanted diversity in the cast of that. Like, I think the juxtaposition of somebody who is working class and has 12 roommates versus Will, who has family money and going to law school, is a fascinating dynamic.
Well, it's interesting, because especially in the South, when I feel like classism is alive and well, obviously, as we talk about
so, like, I'm okay if you hire and, like, put people on this show who have money, but it's that you're only casting for that. That's crazy.
Damn. Answer, Leva. Was this girl just not good drama because she couldn't afford to lose her job because she couldn't afford to argue at work?
I don't know.
Is that maybe why she was bad? Like Maddie, if she loses this job, okay. But what's her name? Nina? Mia?
Mia. Yeah, she had like a day job.
Yeah, but she fucking yelled at Leva fired her, and it was fine. Yeah. Right? Like if I rely on my job, like currently I'd never yell at my boss because I can't afford to be fired. I mean, I could in the sense of I'd find another job, but I would rather not do that, you know?
No, I mean, I agree.
Most people would. I don't think many people don't understand what I'm saying.
Okay, moving on, but staying in
oh my gosh,
Southern.
You have so much news.
Okay, I know a lot. I told you a lot happened this week. Staying in the South.
I thought we were gonna volley, but yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just rolling through mine. Craig claims that Paige said that the breakup was probably the biggest mistake of her life, and that who knows, maybe they'll get married at BravoCon.
Is this your news? Do I have to dignify this with a response? I can get married at BravoCon.
Reaction to Paige getting married at BravoCon.
It's like he thinks we've never met her, which we haven't.
I don't think he's ever met her.
It's like literally. Listen, when I watch Paige, I see a lot of myself. A little abrasive, sometimes blunt, can be seen as mean. but also kind of a bad bitch, and I'm in on it.
Yeah.
What? We would never get married at Bravo, at BravoCon? Hey, Meredith, I think I'm going to get married at my job next year. Do you want to fly out for it? The fuck? Her mom would never. Her mom would never. What are you talking about? Biggest mistake of her life. She's watching she's watching Summer House come out now and going, so glad I did that. Her mom is so proud of her. And that's all the validation Paige needs in life.
True.
What is he high on? I know he's...
He just can't lie in a realistic sense, which cracks me up. Like, his lies just keep getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, like, he's like, what do I do with the ring? And she supposedly said, like, keep it. We'll get married in a year. What? Huh? What a weird... It's so weird. It's not even like... It doesn't even align personality-wise.
No, I know. At this point, I need at least 2 references. Like, for every comment that Craig says, I need 2 witnesses to everything that happens now, because I truly don't believe a word he says.
He's so weird. You know, I texted 2 of my friends who, when Paige and Craig broke up, they both were like, shocked. Oh my God. Did I tell you this? And I texted them and I was just like, I don't listen to Giggly Squad. But like, as people who don't watch Bravo, but do listen to Giggly Squad, what was your genuine idea of Craig? Like, I just have to know. Because you and I mean, like, I was pumped at first, but I kept seeing things, and I told you, it's literally recorded. I would always go like, Meredith, that is such an ick. I don't know how Paige, like, to move on. If it was me, yuck. And they both said, like, Paige didn't really talk that much about Craig, which is extra funny on her podcast, because, like, it wasn't a relationship podcast, so, like, why? They just knew that, like, Craig... existed and they were dating. But one of my friends said she didn't think it would happen. Well, she's very into like energies and spirits. She is opposite of me. She believes in astrology and all that. But she basically said, with Paige being a Scorpio, I don't know what that means. She's more private in her relationship, but on the pod, she didn't share anything about her love life. And energy-wise, I didn't think it was a match, because him wanting her to move down and her saying no, and we felt like she never truly loved him. And I was like, yeah, whatever.
Well, but they also did share a lot.
Well, wait. My friends only started listening within the past year. So we saw it go downhill. Because now that I'm watching it, I'm like, my God, flags everywhere.
They put all of their relationship on Southern Charm and Summer House. Yeah. So that they like don't have to, she doesn't have to put it on the podcast, because like there's other avenues to find out.
No, I never said she should. I was just wondering.
No. I'm just saying that, like, I'm just not shocked she didn't ever talk about it.
Yeah. But listen, I was surprised for all of 2.5 seconds, and then I went, oh, yep, that makes sense. Because this man's crazy. He's insane. Good. Can't wait to attend his wedding. Can't wait. What a fucking weirdo.
I need Andy to host a wedding for him.
You think after this whole press tour you're doing, she's going to next year be like, you know what? Maybe I should get back with Craig and get married at BravoCon. You think that's what's going to happen?
He claims that she said, and again, this is claims. I don't believe this, but he claims that she said, like, why didn't you, like fight to get me back? And he's like, I'm trying. I think she was done with that relationship. If she said it, I think she was half joking. They were kind of conversing. I think he brought it up.
I could see the BravoCon thing being a joke. Where he's like, what do I do with the ring? And she's like, I don't know, keep it. We'll get married at BravoCon.
I think he doesn't know her at all, in her humor or anything. Even I saw a little bit of a clip for the next episode of Summer House where she was like, oh, Craig hates that I make everything a joke every time we have a problem. And I'm like, oh my God, that's it. Like, Paige is joking around all the time, and Craig doesn't understand it. And then when Paige needs support, Craig does not listen at all. And then Craig also lies a lot. So then we just have a mix of nothing ever is communicated on the same degree with both of them.
No. And when they have a conflict, Craig's never going to admit that he's wrong. So Paige makes a joke to de-escalate the situation. because a woman's greatest fear is to be murdered and a man's greatest fear is to be embarrassed. So Paige is de-escalating the situation so she doesn't get murdered. Not saying Craig would murder her, but you know what I mean? She's like, let's take it down a notch and not be mad. And he's like, no, I'm mad. He's such a pissy little baby. Jesus F.
Well,
all right.
What news do you
Anything
have?
else?
Nope.
Oh, I could keep it in Bravo. Raquel's a professional sound healer, everyone. Go get your sound healed by Raquel Rachel Leviss. I don't know what that means. The only time I've ever been privy to it has been on TV, or is what Sandoval did sound therapy that one time when he was screaming in his living room.
Yeah, but that was different.
Oh, okay. So she's not that type of sound healer.
I think it's like the bowls and the...
They did that on Beverly Hills.
Yes.
Oh, so fun. So everyone, if you feel like your, I think they're called chakras, it needs some healing, do it with sound. With Raquel.
With Raquel, I bet she will be real healing.
You know what, though? Her voice gives big, like, fall asleep energy, so I would be relaxed.
I don't think you're supposed to fall asleep, though.
I'd be relaxed, though. I'd be in. No.
I guess.
Good luck to her and her endeavors. Molly Mae and Tommy are reportedly back. They came back from Dubai together.
Oh, God.
I hate it.
I mean, I'm not surprised, but...
We knew it was a PR stunt at some point, but I wouldn't want to believe it, and here I am.
I don't think it was a PR stunt, but I think she went above and beyond of, like, pushing him out to make, like, a stand, because you probably do feel media support, but that backsliding...
I think she said they're just figuring it out. What's there to figure out, girly? What's there to figure out, you know?
I mean, that's what every 40-year-old man says on Bravo. They're just, like, trying to figure life out.
And I know this is, like, father of a child and, like, all that. But I really, for every woman, I want to say, like, you can do better. I truly, wholeheartedly believe that. You can always do better.
Well, my thing is, like, what is he actually providing you? Outside of, like, an ego boost or a societal boost because you have a boyfriend, a partner, what is that man providing you?
I just think there's a lot of history there. They have a kid. Molly isn't the type to, like, go out. Like, it's weird that this is the first thing that comes to mind, but, like, think of, like, a Kristen Cavallari. She goes through a divorce and she's out on these streets. She's out on the town. She's open to dating. Molly's never been like that. Yeah. She's always been, even when she was on Love Island at 20, she was like, I'm not a big drinker. I don't really like going out. So
to me, like, they are fundamentally different. So I don't get how it works. I know he has come out and said he's an alcoholic. So if he doesn't party as much and their lifestyle is now similar, okay, you can maybe convince me it can work this time. But it just seemed that they were never on the same page in this, like, later half of life.
And if they are together, I'm going to be a little pissed. I'm just, personally, I'm going to be like, come on,
well,
girl,
I'm going to be pissed if that is what the second half of her show is about.
Like them getting back together?
Yeah, like, I don't want to see that. Like, you can, like, mention it that, you know, you're talking to him and you're trying to figure out your life, but I don't want the second half of the show just to be about them getting back together. Like, I don't need that to be
I didn't even watch the first half. I started it and got bored.
It was very boring. So I'll recap it for you.
Once we got to the part where the camera was watching her watching Love Island, I went, no. You want me to believe. Like, we're at her house and she's in her jammies and she's just like, let me put on some old Love Island so the camera can see me watching it. No, you don't have to make it emotional. We all know.
It's so meta.
Put the clip in after the fact. Put the clip in after the fact.
Well, or, like, have her doing her, like, interview and ask her about Love Island and just put the clip over it. I don't need her watching it like it's home movies. These aren't home movies.
And giving commentary and being like, oh, I remember the first time I saw him. No, we don't. We all do. We all saw it too. We were all there, weirdly enough.
And
the
like, it was live.
Gave us access.
We had hours of this.
My God, we knew. Jesus. So yeah, that part I went, it's turned off for me. It's too much. If the second part's good, let me know. But I think the first part didn't get great reviews. So your girl's not in it.
I'll watch it for us. I think it comes out in May.
Great. I think that's it for me.
Same.
Great. Should we do reading, watching, and listening?
Hell to the yeah.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Okay, I'm still reading my book series, but I'm on the third book. It's crazy. The plot twists that happen in these fantasies, you would think that I see some of them coming, but some, I sit there. There's one, I'm not going to give too much away. It's Daughter of No World series. I don't know all of them, but I'm on the third book. It's only a trilogy. But basically, in the second book, they introduce this third character who's like this badass female warrior. And she's like, she learns that she is secretly like not her father's child. And that's why he hates her. And she's like actually in line for the throne of like a different kingdom, right? Like so badass. And then she gets betrayed, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, I don't even care about the other two main characters that I've gone a book with. Like, this is exciting. And then I find out that this happened hundreds of years before my other two main characters, and we've actually met this person before. And I was sitting there going, wait a minute. So I have two main characters, right? That have been book 1 and book 2 and book 3 with me. Those are two main ones. Current timeline, right? They meet a character with a different name that I think nothing of, that plays kind of a big role, but like in a different way than this warrior. And then I'm also reading about this warrior princess. Well, she's not princess, but this warrior. And then I find out that she is the warrior from hundreds of years ago. And I was like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. I can't believe for all of book 2, I was existing in 2 different timelines. That was crazy.
Huh.
I put it together at some point, but I was shook when I did. I did it before the book told me, but I was shocked.
Reveal.
And now we get her point of view in the timeline. And now I'm like, how meta. It was crazy. It was crazy. You would think I would be like not as shocked, but here I am, shocked as ever.
Here she is,
did it.
Shocked as
this
ever.
Author, killing it per usual. But that's it for right now. Are you reading anything?
I am not. Still in my slump.
Well, do you need Rex or you don't want any Rex?
No, I just haven't been reading at night. I feel like I am really good at turning my TV off and having some nighttime time without my screen, and I reset my whole apartment. Well, I do my dishes, clean up my apartment, and so I'm able to lay down without reading. Usually with my insomnia, I have to read something to quiet my brain down, but lately I've been tired, so that's good.
That's great. These books don't calm me down. Last night I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, but you also have a commute. I don't have a commute into the office. I don't have something that's drawing me to read or time that I'm taking away to sit down and read.
Well, what I do at March Madness, I'm getting over a cold, so I don't want to go out in public because it's irresponsible to pass along germs to people in public. So I'm not going to do it. I'm taking this weekend and resetting my body. But I like to set up my March Madness, and then I have my book with me. And then, because sometimes the games get kind of slow, so I just put on a game and I'm reading. And then when things get good, I put my book down. It's been very fun.
Do you have the
Been
sound
fulfilling.
on so you can hear if like things are happening?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, like
okay.
low. I can read with sound. It's not.
Yeah.
I prefer like reading at coffee shops where it's like loud and stuff.
Definitely. Very fun.
So yeah, fun stuff. Okay, what are you watching?
Well, the time has come for me to give you an overview of Survivor this season.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'm going to break it down between my draft team, and within my draft team, there's a little bit of drama. And then I'll tell you some few other like highlights of the season. So, for anybody else who's also watching Survivor, my draft team is made up of Chrissy, Thomas, Camilla, Ava, and Star. So, starting off with Chrissy, we love her. She's a Chicagoan, a 55-year-old firefighter. Right. She hasn't been doing much, so like nothing to report yet on her, but she's just a badass woman, and we love her.
Did this season just premiere?
It premiered about 5 weeks ago, so Chrissy's still in the game. Solid. We're fine. Okay. Next, I had Thomas. Last week's episode, not this one that came out in the last week, but two ago. They had recently done a tribe like swap instead of just immediately going into a merge. One team was down to 3, and so they mixed them all up, and new teams were formed. And that episode, there was a group on Thomas's tribe who, and Thomas was part of it, wanted to get out this other guy. They go through the guy's bag to be like, oh, does he have an idol? Can't find anything. That guy's name is Kyle. Kyle then goes and talks to my other team member, Camilla, and is like, hey, it's clearly one of us. I think they want me out, just the way they're talking, but I have an idol. And she was like, they looked through your bag. They couldn't find it. And they were like, this is wonderful. Like, they have no clue I can use my idol. Kyle plays his idol at tribal council. All the votes are on him. Thomas goes home.
Wait, what about his idol?
Kyle had the idol. So all the votes go on Kyle. Thomas gets blindsided basically by the idol play. Like, one vote gets sent home.
Oh, I love when that happens.
I know.
You gotta split the vote. That's why you gotta sometimes split the vote.
They were so cocky because they looked through the bag, and it's like, I don't care where you look. It could be on somebody's body. Like, you just kind of have to always assume there is an idol there.
I'm not leaving it in my bag. Can it get stolen? Isn't that free?
You cannot steal it. And if somebody, like, you can go hide your idol in the ground. But I think producers would intervene if an idol was found. They wouldn't tell you whose it is, but they won't let you just steal an idol. You have to be given the idol.
Oh, okay. Crazy.
Yeah. But it was in Kyle's bag. It was like in his shoes, and they didn't find it.
Damn.
Yeah.
Got him.
So my girl Camilla, who is also on that tribe with Thomas, who got voted out, she had linked up with Kyle. I don't think Camilla voted for Thomas, and so I think it's under the radar that Kyle and Camilla are working together, which is great. We love a little secret alliance. But on that new tribe, since Thomas went home, there are 4 people left. And this most recent episode, Camilla and the 4 boys left on her tribe are sitting there, and they were all chatting, and they really all bonded over the struggles of their parents. And I just want to say that, like, human interest stories of Survivor increasingly get better and better over time. They're really good at casting interesting people with really diverse backgrounds, really interesting stories. So some of the stories that they talked about is one of the men, I'm going to butcher his name, and I'm so sorry. I looked up how to pronounce it, but I couldn't fully get it. But like Shauhin, his dad was in the Iran-Iraq war, and he was a pilot. And his like dad's plane or like helicopter went down right on the border of Iran and Iraq, and his dad was like taken as like a prisoner of war. I don't know if he like made it out. They didn't like fully go into the end of the story, but crazy story with what his like parents went through during that war. Yeah. Camilla's parents are from Sri Lanka, and she talked about like the divide and the like different like systems, and it's all based on religion and language. And like she was from a minority family, and like when her dad, they like left pretty early on in the conflict, but when her dad would go back, he would often just get pulled over and they would just assume he was a part of one religion or the other. And it was just like very complicated, she said. And I just can't imagine. And then the third guy to speak, or person to speak, talked about his parents, and his parents he's a biracial man, and his mom was white and his dad is black. And like they were together during like the Jim Crow era, and like have so many pictures of them as a like diverse, like interracial couple during that era. And like, we're really talking about the difficulties of being an interracial couple, but also Jim Crow laws. And it was just a beautiful conversation of, hearing people talk about their familial struggles and how difficult and challenging it was during, that time. And also to say like, a lot of these things weren't that long ago. Like, it's so easy to say as like our generation and younger generations to say like, oh, that was forever ago. It's in like a history book, but like, it's right there. And it was just like a really beautiful, touching conversation. They really all bonded, and I really hope these four stick together, because I think they have really unique but also very similar struggles.
Yeah. Oh, cute. Bonding.
So next up is my girl Eva. I loved her from the moment I saw her. My friends and I draft them, just we get pictures and job descriptions. And we slowly like pick them blind, as episode 1 goes on, and it's always like a 2-hour episode. So Eva was one of my early picks because she looked really athletic. I just really loved her. And in her opening package, we find out that she played men's college hockey and like D1. Amazing. I was like, oh, hell yeah.
Okay.
And as time goes on her original tribe, she links up with Joe, who was talked about. He was in that foursome that I just talked about earlier. And he's like the dad type. He's a firefighter. And he just like becomes a dad to her in such a beautiful way. And she really asks him for help because she's autistic and she really struggles with, observing people's emotions and reacting to that, and knows that that's going to be a blind spot to her. And so she talks about a lot about that in her, one-on-one interviews. But then when she's with Joe, tells him like, hey, at some point I'm going to like be very overwhelmed. And when that happens, like, here is how, like, can you help me? And so he was like, oh my God, of course. And he talks about how he has kids and he would just want his daughter treated this way. And they
oh my God,
have a beautiful relationship from the get-go on like the season. And then during the tribe like swap up, they're on different tribes. And so you just know like she is stressing because she doesn't like have someone who's on her side, and he's the only person who knows she's autistic at this point. And so in this week's episode, they do their like competition for safety. And at the very end of the competition is one of those boards where you have to like put the balls down a maze and then like get it into a hole. And every person playing has to put a ball in the hole. And so every person has to complete this like puzzle challenge thing. And you can swap out at any time, but you have to get your ball in there. And so they're like going through, and there's obviously people struggling, and like slowly, the teams are getting different ones in. And so like it's down to a few people. Joe's team completes it first. They're done. And he is watching Eva. She's the last person on her team who needs a ball in. Her team has 3-inch, last one. The other team who she's kind of competing against still needs 2 balls. And so there's not that much pressure, but still like she's got to get this. And she is like stressed out. She just cannot get it. It's not working for her. And Joe is just like watching her, like such a dad move, just like, you got this. Like it's subtly just saying like, and cheering her on like from his own mat. And she's doing it and she cannot get it. She keeps dropping it. The other team gets their 3rd ball in. And now it's like each team is down to
1v1. Yeah.
Yeah. And she just like is so overwhelmed. She like starts like tearing up and is like freaking out, and her team is being so supportive. They don't at this time know that she's autistic and that she's like very overwhelmed, not just like in a normal frustration. And they're cheering her on, being like, say like, I can do this. And she's like, I can do this. And they're working on it. And she lands the last ball, and it was the most beautiful thing, but she's still in this like overwhelming state, and she's like hyperventilating, and they're all like really excited, but you can just tell she just like cannot like calm herself down. And Jeff is like, hey, Joe, do you want to go give her a hug? Because in the previous like episodes, she had told him like, hey, when I get overwhelmed, I need to be squeezed really tight. Like, here's how to help me. And so like Jeff tells Joe to go help her, and he like gives her the biggest hug, and he like calms her down, and he like holds her hand, and they do a second hug. And it was so beautiful. Like, you can just, she was like so grateful, like thanking him. And when they go back to their separate mats, like they talk about it. And Ava like shared that she had like has autism, and like how much like she wants the viewers at home to know that like any little boy or girl can like come do this. And the parents especially to know that like she was told she wouldn't have a job. Like the greatest thing she could do is just like probably find somebody else who has autism and marry them. And she was like, I, graduated college. I played a college sport. Like, I'm out here. I'm living my life. Like, it's not a negative. And it was so beautiful. Jeff was literally in tears. It was, I was
I'm such
crying.
a fan of her.
It was
that hits
so cute.
hard for me. That's so cute. I want to be so clear though. My brother would never make it on that show. We would never let him do it.
Which
he would,
yes,
he wouldn't last a second.
I think
he
was very
mentally stronger than my brother for sure.
Dependent on
it depends on the type of tism you have. That's what we like to say. And she has this type of tism, and my brother does not.
Yes,
but good for her. That's awesome. Oh, good for Joe too.
It was so sweet. And like, they really talked about how like you kind of open yourself up to know that that person is so close to you. And he was like, I would rather help someone out and like be voted out for it.
Point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cute.
Yeah. And then my last person is Star. There wasn't much shared on her. Just she has not been like in depth gone into. But after Eva's situation, Eva and Star are on the same tribe right now. And Star got one of these like beware advantages where this season there's beware advantages where like if you take it and you don't figure it out and get the idol, you don't have a vote until you like figure it out. And so Star has had this beware advantage, and it is like a lock combo of a word, like a bunch of letters, and you have to figure out the word, and there's like all this stuff you have to do. She can't figure it out. Other old tribe members were like, I kind of want her to fail. Like, I kind of want to help her just enough so she thinks I'm being helpful, but like not let her get this idol. So she still hasn't gotten it. And with Eva, like opening up, Star was like, hey, in like all interest of honesty, I have the beware advantage. I can't get it open. Like, do you guys want to all work together? Her like new tribe. And they're like, yeah, let's do it. So they're all working on it together. They like write the letters that you need down. And Eva's the one like working on the whole thing. And she gets it. And Star gives her the idol. She's like, you opened it. Like, it's yours. And so like now Star and Eva are like working together kind of. But before they like kind of had some beef because Star could not, I guess, relate or connect with Eva. Both like they had never talked gameplay. And then I'm sure like Eva's like autism got in the way without like knowing type of thing.
Well, yeah, it's definitely hard because I think a lot of people, if you don't know they have autism, or if you don't know someone has autism, you just think they're weird or
you
rude,
like perceive it as just like standoffish or
yeah. So it's good to be open about them. I understand why Eva didn't share.
Yeah,
I do, because now, okay, may I say, it sounds like if you got a player though in the game, Eva's looking kind of like a threat.
I know.
Got to take her out.
Well, even more so because
you don't want her going to final 3. She's going to get the sympathy of the jurors.
Here's the thing. She has like all types of threats. She's really athletic. She is really smart. She has a really close ally. And like you said, like she has this like love and sympathy for her.
Yeah.
That it could sway a jury, you know? Like, that's powerful.
Yep. So, I don't know.
But yeah, that's
I'll
the main
root for her. But I don't have good feelings.
I know. I don't think she'll make it to the end. It's one of those people where you're like, I can't let her get there.
It's one of those people where if you have a gamer like a Boston Rob-esque or a Sandra, they're not going to let it go. It doesn't matter if it makes them the biggest villain in the world. They'd rather have the money. They'd rather be they're the opposite of Joe, where Joe's like, I'd rather help someone and get voted off. If you have a gamer, they're like, make me a villain. I'll be a villain with my money.
They're like Johnny Fairplay, who's like lying that his grandma's
Johnny Fairplay.
Well, 2 other things I want to point out, because I think this season is amazing. So if anybody has thought about watching Survivor, this is the season, I think. We also have, because these people are not on my team, but these are two other storylines and just like things that I find very interesting. In the interest of diversity, we also have Mitch, who has a stutter, and it has been very interesting to watch him navigate conversations with his tribe mates, and also Jeff. Like Jeff asked him, when you're like struggling, do you want me to interject? Do you want me to finish my sentence? And Mitch was like, no, I need you to have patience with me. I know like people are trying to be helpful when they interject, but like I am going to finish my statement. I just need a little extra time. And so Jeff was like, nope, got it, all in. So Mitch is out there. He's also so funny, like so funny. But we also have Cy and Mary. These two were on the tribe that dwindled down to 3 people. They were oil and water, Alicia. They could not work together at all. And it was honestly what in my opinion, drove the team to losing so much. But they respected each other so much in the gameplay and had so much fun doing it. Like Mary was on the bottom for sure of this tribe. And so Mary was running around that jungle trying to find an idol. And Cy was like running after her, like did not want her to get that idol, like was just trying to like stop her in a game sense. But they both in their interviews was like, this is the funnest day I've had on this. Like I love playing against her. I just can't be in an alliance with her. And then when it was 4 people left on their tribe, Mary was supposed to go home. Like she's the odd man out. And that's why Mary was running around for an idol and couldn't find it. And so she kind of just gave up, goes for the shot in the dark at tribal council, comes up safe. It's only the 2nd time in Survivor history that like that has happened. And so it like came down to this really crazy tribal council, which I won't get into, but at the end of the day, like Cy and Mary were both there and they were like, all right, I guess we have to work together now. Like we're down to 3 people in this tribe, and then they mixed up the whole tribes. Yeah.
That's fun. The good Survivor shit. Oh, I love it.
Oh yeah.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Yeah. What have you been watching?
So I watched the Karen Reed documentary on Max.
How was it?
Can I just say, oh my, amazing, because everyone has such thick Boston accents. Watching them testify was so funny. Like everything was so thick Boston. I couldn't think of anything else. I was like, I don't care who murdered him at this point. No, it was really good. I think, truthfully, when this whole thing was coming out, I know you followed it really heavily.
Yeah.
I was indecisive. I couldn't pick a side. I was like, I don't know. It's like how a lot of people think about the OJ trial where they're like, I don't know, I don't have enough. That's how I kind of felt about Karen Reed's trial, which is weird that it hasn't become the John O'Keefe trial. It's the Karen Reed trial. But this documentary,
yeah, but that's how OJ's was. It always becomes like
that's true.
That's the person on trial.
True.
That's the case.
The murder,
the people versus OJ. The people versus Karen.
Yeah, you're right. It was interesting. It is from like I think Karen and her team were the ones that like hired the documentary crew.
Yes.
Because you get a lot of inside scoop on them. Karen's very straightforward. Listen, I almost don't think she did it because of how it'd be crazy if she killed someone and then acted like this. Like, that's crazy. And if she did do it, she definitely doesn't remember doing it. It was not malicious at all.
That's the thing. You could convince me in a world where if she was the one who did it, it was like an accidental.
It's not second degree murder. That's crazy.
It would be like manslaughter.
She straight up is like, yeah, I don't even feel anything when I see a video of John at this point, because that was the day my life got ruined. And I'm like, yeah, there's no way she's a murderer. There's no way. Because I feel like a murderer would be like, it's so sad. Like,
I would have that same energy. I would have that energy. If I'm on trial and the whole world knows, my life got ruined the day he died.
Yeah, she's sitting in court and she's like, I don't even feel weird sitting near John's parents. Like, I'm here for myself. And I was like, crack out, girl.
All
She's
you
an
have
icon.
is to focus on is protecting yourself. I don't think that's callous at all. Like,
no,
I hope later down the road when this is resolved, she can bring back feelings and like sadness for his family for losing someone. But
I get
for
why
this
she's
moment in
angry.
Time, like,
my other thing is it is just, again, if I murdered someone, I wouldn't act like that. And I know we say like what we would and wouldn't act with, and like grief comes in mysterious waves. But like, I'm on trial at this point. It's been years.
Yeah.
If this is how I present myself, I'm not guilty. Like, that's so
also
so good.
If she's completely innocent, say she has nothing to do with this. Yeah. Oh, I would be so fucking petty and mad at these people who are trying to set me up. If like that's truly what happened, I would act the same way too.
It also did crack me up that like they really couldn't find anyone who didn't have an opinion on this case in Boston. I understand why the Bostonians are pissed. The Boston police don't have a good reputation. It's very white. Boston's known as being kind of a racist city, a very white city. And the Boston cops are very known for being like looking out for one of their own, you know, like we'll do some favors. It's just kind of how it goes. So like I get it, but I would have been a great juror for this case because I truly did not sway one way or the other. But let me tell you, her defense attorney got me. She's not guilty. There's no way she's guilty. Everyone's saying that she yelled like, I killed him. But the video shows she said, did I kill him? Did I kill him?
Yeah.
You're not going to convince me that in a blizzard, there was just like red tail light pieces laying on him after hours.
I know.
In a snowstorm. And they weren't there they weren't there when you originally came to get the body. But you come back a few days later and they're just right in the open. Hey guys, we found stuff.
And it's Proctor finds them. Nobody else on the team finds them. It's Proctor.
Crazy.
Yeah, right.
No, her defense attorney did amazing. I'm almost sad it was a mistrial because I'm like, how did you guys not like just let her walk? I don't get it. I have an opinion now. I think she's innocent. I truly do. Also, John O'Keefe's friends got interviewed for this documentary, which
like
was
real
interesting.
Friends, not the people who were like involved in it, right?
No, like his real friends. The people who were involved obviously cannot speak on it because they're witnesses. But they're like, I understand where they're coming from, but I really don't think they're out to find the truth. I think they're here to like blame someone. And I think Karen also isn't here really to find the truth. She's just here to exonerate herself, right? So, but
also that's not her job.
That's not her job. The worst part of the whole thing was her text messages got read with this guy, one of John's friends that she was flirting with, out loud in the courtroom. And it was so uncomfortable for everyone involved, including me watching it. But then Karen was like, I look like this slut, but really, we had just been dating. We weren't like boyfriend, girlfriend, married. We were just dating. I can flirt with other people if I want to. I was like,
when was that? When were those texts? Was it before she lived with him or was it around the time that he died?
I don't know. You'll have to go watch. The other uncomfortable thing was one of the police that was John's friend that was then looking into this was texting about how Karen's like such a crazy cunt and whatever. And the defense attorney's like, aren't you supposed to be like searching for the truth? And like, here you are. And I was like, we can't trust men. Karen's innocent. It must have been a man that killed him. It was a man that killed John O'Keefe.
Yeah.
I think it might have been the dog.
I think it was the dog was involved, but there's a wound on the back of his head. And I think that incapacitated him. And then he eventually dies from hypothermia because he's left out in the cold. Like if somebody had intervened, he could have lived.
I know someone from high school who died of hypothermia. So like it's possible. It's possible he honestly got attacked by the dog, was out there and no one knew.
I think it happened in the house and I think he went unconscious. I wonder if they thought he was dead or going to die. And I think they put him outside.
Well, then that one lady Googled how long to die in cold.
That is just the most obscene thing.
It was the funniest thing because like she Googled that 3 times. One at like 2:30 in the morning and the other two at like 6:30 in the morning. And she claims she Googled it the second 2 times because Karen Reed was like freaking out, which fine. But what about that 2:31? She's like, oh, I never Googled it. And everyone's like, oh,
she says that
Go.
that timestamp is from, and this is not how this works, but that timestamp is because the tab was open at 2:30 in the morning when she was looking up her school, like her kids' like sporting event scores. And it's like, I'm sorry. Also, why would you be looking up sporting event scores at 2:30 in the morning?
Well, yeah, they were trying to do that. And then the prosecution brought in like 2 cell phone experts, which whoever does that for a job, let me in. And they're like, yeah, when you just open up the tab, like it pops up with that timestamp, and it made zero sense. As someone who like would sit on the jury with no technology information, I'd be like, that doesn't really make sense. But then the defense brought in like a big cell phone expert that like studies this in college with like credentials. The other 2 were like from the Best Buy Geek Squad. But this guy shows up and he's like, that's not how that works. They weren't using the right server, but this woman had this kind of server and that's how this worked. And I was like, yo, you had me convinced. I'm in Karen Reed. I don't know who did it, but it wasn't Karen Reed.
Well, here's 2 things that I bet they didn't cover on that documentary that have happened.
Oh, did you watch it?
No, not yet. But I keep up with, because they're going into their second trial here in April. So the pretrial motions are happening right now for that trial. So here's stuff that's happening currently in the case too. An alternate juror from the first trial who was a lawyer joined Karen's defense team, which I love. Like, great experience.
Convinced. The alternate was convinced.
Yes. And then there was an issue with evidence, and that the prosecution had multiple videos from either the Sally Port or one of the police stations or something, and didn't give it over to the defense, which if that happens, we're like,
it's not permissible,
important
right?
Evidence isn't handed over. That's called a Brady violation, and that is supposed to get you off immediately. Like it is so important to have like discovery happen. And so there's like a lot of tit for tat going back on what happened in the first trial, but that stupid judge from the first trial is still overseeing the second trial. So obviously there's not a fair trial.
Do you think the judge is anti?
Yeah, she's like friends with the people who did it. She has a massive conflict of interest in this case.
Boston's got a lot of issues, man. But if you, for nothing else, watch this documentary because of how strong the Boston accents, like Karen Reed constantly being like, I'm not going to feel bad in her big Boston accent. Oh my God, it's so good. I was cracking up. Yeah, so I watched that. And then I also, another documentary. Did you know about Hollywood Demons?
No.
It's this documentary. There's only 1 episode out. And when I say episode, it's an hour and a half. So be ready for that episode. It's a movie. But the first episode is about the seventh heaven and that whole thing where like the pastor, Eric, whatever.
Somebody talk about it on TikTok, but it was just a little snip clip of it.
Oh, you probably saw my guy, Rob Anderson, because he's the one that showed me that this was a thing because Rob Anderson, the TikToker, he does this series where he watches old episodes of Seventh Heaven and then is like, y'all have to watch this. And he tells you all about it. And he's like, we're huffing paint.
It has to be him. Yes.
Yes, the huff and paint guy. But he was like, he was posting that he's now in this documentary. And he's like, that's so funny. And his title is Seventh Heaven Fan and TikTok Creator. Which is so funny.
Oh my God. I can't wait for the future documentary about Bravo where we're like, Bravo fan and podcaster.
This was literally like such a serious topic. And I'm cracking up at Rob Anderson's title. Oh, but it was crazy. This dude, he's a weirdo. What's his name? I don't even know his real name.
It's the dad, right? That's what it's about?
Pastor Eric Cameron. That was the dad on the show. But basically it starts out with like his early years in Hollywood and how he like, he was a part of Star Trek, and then he did this like this ABC show, and then he did like another thing, and he met his French wife. Great. And then he like was cast as the dad on Seventh Heaven.
Mm-hmm.
But there was like a victim that has come forward, or not a survivor, let's say, and her name April. She talks in the documentary and she's like, I met him in the 80s. He was neighbors with my aunt. This dude's a fucking weirdo. Let me tell you what he did. I'm gonna tell you.
Did he assault her?
Trigger warning. We're trigger warning right now. I'm talking about Eric Camden, actor. God knows his name. Doesn't matter even. So she goes to she's like 13. She's going to spend the summer with her aunt in LA. This hot Eric Camden actor, he's neighbors. So, and she's a big fan because he's like kind of a big thing on this ABC show. Yeah. He's like kind of a heartthrob. So she like goes over and was like, can I have a signed headshot? And he's like, yeah. And he does the thing that people in power do in actors where they're like very nice. And like, he says like, come on over anytime. Also, it's the 80s. So like no one's concerned about anything at this point. Yeah. So she's like, okay, but she's 13. She's like, okay, she doesn't go over, obviously. So she's only there for a week. And then her aunt is like, come spend the summer with me. So she does. So now she's living here. But she hasn't really seen, I'm going to call him Eric Camden because I can't think of his real name. She doesn't see Eric Camden much. She doesn't like go over to him. She's just living her life as a 13-year-old, and her aunt would go to work most of the time, and she, like any normal 13-year-old, would just like sit around in the house and play video games. She had her Atari, okay? We're fucking 13. And one day she's cooking like breakfast or lunch, and this fucking weirdo walks by her, like the back garden door, completely naked with all of his clothes in hand to go like do laundry because it was communal laundry in this like garden area that they all shared. So he's walking naked, and she immediately was like, yeah. And then of course people blame her. Like, why didn't you run or tell someone? She says she froze. 13.
Also, it's not like he like broke into her house. He's in communal space. Like, you're 13. What do you feel like you can do?
You don't know. Dr. Drew is also in this documentary, which like I have my separate issues with Dr. Drew for sure. But he very much sticks up for like, when you're 13, that's not how your mind works. You're not thinking of all the right and wrong. Like, you're literally like, no one should be doing this. And it's weird that they are, you know?
I know, but I also would be like, if that's community property, I don't know what the rules are of what you can do on your own kind of community property.
13.
It's not mine.
And then, so she like, whatever. Who knows? She's like, she's gonna let it slide because nothing happened. And she's just in the wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah,
she's also
like I could have not seen it. I'm gonna ignore it.
Yeah. Women are taught just like ignore things. It's okay. Then she like something happened with her cable to the Atari, and her mom had to like ship it to her, and so she gets it, but she doesn't know how to hook it up to the TV because that's how you played video games back in the day. And Eric Camden was outside when she like got this package. So she was home alone, and this man had been nice to her before. So she was just like, hey, do you know how to set this up? Could you help me? And like friends with her aunt too, right? So Eric Camden's like, yeah, sure. So he's like doing the thing by the TV, and he turns around and he's fully exposed to her. And she's like, okay. God. And he just stands like that and then eventually like leaves. And she's like, okay. But here's the kicker. April, as a young kid, was sexually assaulted by like an uncle that's not really an uncle in her family. And she told her family, and they all didn't believe her. So she's like, no one would believe me now. Yeah, with the uncle. Okay. So no one's going to believe her now. And this is like a hot, well-known actor, right?
And like, all he's doing is exposing himself in front of me. So on the scale of, not that this is okay, on the scale of like terrible things that have been done to me, like if somebody didn't believe me about something more serious, like, why are they going to care or believe this?
And he didn't touch her. He didn't do it. He was just, again, just there, right? So she's like, I don't know. But then the summer goes on. She really doesn't see him. And then one day she's like she's tanning in the backyard in a one piece. We see a picture of the bathing suit. It wasn't scandally, Okay. But she's in the back garden. That's communal. So he comes over, which is also so weird. Why are we having conversations with 13-year-olds? And he's like, hey, I have all this like memorabilia from the show that you really like that I'm on. Something like Tales of a Golden Monkey, something like that. He's like, I have all the memorabilia. And she's like, oh, that's so cool. So he's like building a rapport with her. And she's like, oh, that's so cool. He's like, do you want to come see it? And she's like, yeah. Yeah, sure. Why not? So she goes over there and she's looking at the memorabilia. And then he's like, do you mind if I go if I put something on to make myself more comfortable? And she's like, no, I don't care. Because what are you going to say? And he comes out fully nude and is just walking around. And she's like, I don't know what to do. And thank God that her aunt came home early from work that day because her aunt walked by and she goes, that's my aunt. I got to go by. So she like fucking sprints out of there. And she's like, but if my aunt didn't, right? And Dr. Drew does talk about like as a child, you don't know how to just leave. You need an excuse. You need an adult. So her seeing her aunt was almost the saving grace to be like, I have to go to my aunt's going to wonder where I am. I have to go home, obviously.
Because
right?
also my fear would be like, if the aunt doesn't come home and I try to leave, like he'll just follow me. He knows where I live. Yeah. Like he knows I'm home alone all day. Like
I'm in my bathing suit. Where am I going?
I would rather slowly try to ease out of his home without him following me and not getting mad.
Yeah. So she saw her aunt and she sprinted. So now he's on seventh heaven, right? And this woman didn't come forward. She was very like, it's not going to happen. She ends up going into the industry as like a PA for a little bit, and she does run into him. And I don't remember if it's before seventh heaven or after he did that whole thing, but he does come over and he's like, hey, I'm so sorry for what I did. It was so wrong. And she was just like, okay. Like it
would be weirder for him to acknowledge it. I don't know why.
Well, she was I know. Yeah, well, she's like, I know I could be blacklisted, so I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. Yeah. He's a big name. So then he does Seventh Heaven, and that's what really bugs her because he's on a show with young women. Jessica Biel was like 14. The blonde lady, Beverly Mitchell, was 10. And then you had that literal child girl who played Ruthie. And so this woman, though, was like, it's been so long. We don't know. So he does all of this. Nothing has ever come out of him on the show. But then in 2012, audio gets leaked from a therapy session that he did with his wife that he met on this ABC show that was a big hit, where she's like, so you told me you like hooked up or like did stuff with like a 10-year-old, someone's sister that they knew, someone's sister's cousin, like something like that in New York. So like before April, before LA, before he like had his big break. And he like forced this woman to like touch his privates.
The 10-year-old? You mean the child?
He completed, the literal child. And then he went back like at 12 and 13. It was so weird. Yuck. And then
wait, he assaulted the child multiple times.
In New York. So then this gets leaked. Which is, I don't know the legality of like a therapy session because those are usually private. But this woman, they all think in the divorce probably wanted to like have something go for him, so she recorded it. Good on her. Do what you got to do.
Well, if the therapist releases it, that's against HIPAA. Oh. But if somebody, if the wife records him in a session, that's just up to like recording law. So I don't know where they were.
Dr. Drew said something I kind of liked where he was like, okay, yeah, people can argue that like this was private, but like you're also arguing that it doesn't matter that a 10-year-old was sexually assaulted. Like what's the worst crime?
I always get so frustrated with stuff like that when people are like, well, like, but this happened. And it's like, what's the bigger crime here?
Why are we
like bringing up maybe something that's illegal? That's just an invasion of privacy too, over and protecting a literal child predator.
Yeah. So the wife releases it. Everyone's shook. Hollywood is shook to its core.
Oh my God.
Seventh Heaven is taken off the 2012. Hollywood or Seventh Heaven is taken off the air. Also, just going back for a second, Jessica Biel, when she was 17 and like the show got kind of big and she was obviously like a hot young actress, she did a spread where she was topless. I forget for which magazine, But this man had something to say about it because everyone thought she was 18 and they're like, she's so hot, she's so hot. And he was like, I think it's disgusting you're sexualizing a 17-year-old.
Sir.
Yeah, sir.
That's what you do, it seems like, on the daily.
So 2012, audio is released. April goes forward to the police. The police try to press charges against this man, but statutes of limitations is up. So nothing happens to him.
Not that this is right, but it's really hard to prosecute stuff when it's just between two people and like no evidence. Like I understand the complications from the legal side of it. Not that that's okay, but.
So now at this point, it's just like, we can take down his reputation, right? But this man is like, you know what I'm going to do? So in 2014, so 2 years later, he goes and schedules an interview with Katie Couric to fully admit to, he fully sits there and is like, I did do that, but it was wrong. And he uses language, which Dr. Drew picks up on, where he, instead of saying like, I did this, he's like about the first girl, he's like, we did something that was so inappropriate. Like we did something very
like she was an equal participant in this.
Yeah, and Dr. Drew's like, she was 10
to this.
She was 10. So for all of Dr. Drew's flaws, he does not stand for.
It's not like it's a 19-year-old and a 17-year-old having, consensual sex, even if she can't consensually, like legally consensually agree. That was a 10-year-old. You didn't do things together. Yeah. You did things to her.
And then Katie Couric was like, are you a pedophile? Which, Jesus. And he goes, that is not the exact term I would identify myself as.
Sorry. You don't get to choose this terminology. It's what you do. The best
was there's a social media or like a pop culture writer that's in a lot of these like Hollywood documentary-esque things. I forget her name, but I followed her on TikTok because she's amazing. And she goes, technically what he is a hebephiliac or like a hebephilia. It doesn't matter.
I've never heard this term.
But a pedophile is technically if you're or like attracted to children before the age of like 10 or 11. A hebephiliac is someone who is attracted to like prepubescent people. So he was like not lying. Gross. So she's sitting there. He's like, he's just literally like walking around all your questions. Like he's just being a gross person.
And it's like, of course, you could never educate yourself on the deflection that this gross man is going to do to be able to like trap him in the right corners.
So I looked him up. He's currently living a quiet life in Iowa. And I say, Iowans, don't let this man live quietly.
Shut up. This man settled in the middle of the country. I hope he lives a terrible life.
I ever find you in Iowa, sir. Hands will be thrown. Also, he looks terrible. By the end of Seventh Heaven, this man looked weathered. Also, what a stupid show. This show was bad. The show was, I don't know why we all watched it.
I didn't, thankfully.
Oh, I always watched it. But it was a little outrageous. Like, you want me to believe this white suburban family has a bunch of gang members hanging around? Also, I always thought the mom and dad were terrible people. Never forget when the mom smoked weed. That was like, the father could not forgive.
Dude, I can't imagine that because weed was like marketed as dangerous and this gateway drug for so long. People are going to look back on our shows and be like, the fuck is wrong with you guys? Like...
Listen, what a time. But yeah, that's what I watched.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Fun. You should watch that documentary if you want to throw hands. I was like, fuck this dude. Fuck this guy.
Alicia, that was the most obscene thing.
It was crazy. But you know what, April? Shout out to April who came forward and told her story. Fuck this man. Yuck. Yuck.
Can I request you watch something for...
Yeah.
In like 2 weeks, I want to talk about the end of White Lotus because...
All right, I'll watch it. I'll watch it.
Because there are 3 white blonde women who you will not be able to tell the part.
You just want to embarrass me. That's
my
fine.
dad and I talked about it the other day, and he was like... We were talking about the length of their hair and where they live, and I was like trying to qualify them for him, and he was like, I don't know who we're talking about anymore.
I am your dad. All white people look the same to some regard. I'll watch it. I have to be honest. I heard the music, the intro, and I went, "It's not good." And I said, "I don't want to watch it." I do
they did
Mike, though.
wait. They did include the old intro during one of the episodes, like as some of the music. So we got a little.
Because you better bet I would turn that on and I would jam by myself.
Yeah.
No, the that was a banger.
Now I skip it. You move right past it now.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Great. Are you watching anything else or listening to anything?
Not really. I mean, I am the classic Bravo stuff, but nothing too interesting right now.
Okay. Are you listening to anything?
No. I haven't listened to a podcast in so long, which is crazy because we tell people to listen to our podcast. But
I don't know what it is about podcasts, but they haven't been hitting lately. Music has really been hitting for me on my walks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm currently, just to get myself hyped, I've been listening to a lot of like basketball hype up music. I don't know why.
Give me some of the artists or the songs that you're talking about.
Oh, lots of Kendrick, some SZA, old school rap like from the 2010s. You gotta have the right beat where you're kind of like, it gets you in game zone a little, you know, where you can like back forth. What else? UConn, actually, women's basketball, there's a playlist, and I was like,
ooh, wait, that's a really good idea.
Lots of Megan Thee Stallion, Young Thug, some Beyonce, Future. Yeah, no, it's a good one. Jack Harlow.
Love that.
I could see it. I see it. And then I don't know, I get hyped. As someone who used to play basketball and was never good enough, I get hyped for thinking I could have been maybe in a different life with different genes, different parents. I could have been someone else. Different mindset, because man, did I hate to go practice. But like, you know, someone who was actually determined.
Different mindset.
Could have been me, but it's not. But when I go on my walk, sometimes I like reminisce in my head.
I think that's what I need to get back into podcasts too, is like the weather's getting warmer, some long walks are upon me. Like when I walk for a really long time, cannot just listen to music. I need something else to like hold my thoughts. So I'm really excited with warm weather to get into podcasts again.
Okay. If anyone has any suggestions to podcasts, let me know. I don't know what kind of podcasts I like anymore.
I know. I will always get drawn into the right true crime episodes, but I don't like just listening to a true crime every week. So
I agree.
With that type of genre, I need specific stories along with the podcast name. And then, yeah, I don't know.
Which it is crazy because I used to listen to every episode of My Favorite Murder.
Same.
Like, it didn't matter if it was maybe because I liked the comedy aspect of it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't something I like needed to know about beforehand. You know what I mean?
Yes. I think their beauty is the unknown stories, which I really did enjoy. And they just had a good comedic relief. So then if I zoned out, it's not like I was like trying to really learn about this one specific case.
Maybe I'll try them again. I don't know. I feel like I've lost too much.
Since I don't go into the office, but I will be, I'm so used to just turning on my TV now. Like there's shows that I know that I don't need to pay attention to the same way. And so I need to like revert back to podcasts during work versus TV.
Back when we worked together, all I would do was listen to podcasts. I listened to a podcast on my long commute at the office.
I was cranking episodes out.
COVID though. I would just watch TV. That's when I watched all of Beverly Hills. I started all the Housewives. I did Southern Charm. Like, I was like, the Housewives specifically are perfect for me to work to. So when I go in office, that's why I'm like, I only will specifically listen to or watch, because I am listening to it, but I'm not really watching.
Yeah.
Orange County. And people see me with my phone propped up. I put it on Do Not Disturb so it doesn't ring and no one will hear the vibrate. So I have no idea if anyone's reaching out during the day, but I have it propped and people have like walked by and been like, what the fuck? And I feel weird, but I literally I tell them, I go, I'm not really watching it. Like, this is a show I don't really have to watch. And I was like, I can only really watch like reality show. Like I say, I know my specific shows. I think I watched Shrek one day. I told you. Like,
no, you told me you watched like all the Shreks.
Yeah, it has to be something very specific. Like, in 10 seconds, I can know if this is a show I can like put on while I work or not. But one of my friends next to me was like, that's a really good idea. And she started watching TV on her phone, but she was watching Korean dramas and she doesn't speak Korean. And I was like, no, you can't watch. Because I look over at her and she's fully in her TV. And I was like, stop.
That's the thing.
Wrong.
That is a sitting on the couch type of show. You need I'm doing that with Pretty Little Liars, where I don't really care what's going on. I'm just hitting the major plot points and trying to get through it. And I have not seen the second half of that series, but I don't really care if I actually catch it or not. It's just on.
Yeah, you know the shows that you could just be like, it's just on.
Because here's my thing. If it's that important and I miss it, it'll be on the previously on. Like, I'll get caught up.
Yeah, I'll catch it. I'll catch it. And I told my friends, like, how do you know when to, like, tune in? And I go, if I hear screaming, I immediately just look.
That's silence on Pretty Little Liars tells me I need to look up because they're like hunting in a woods.
Something's going on. You don't need to know if Spencer's hooking up with her best friend's boyfriend or whatever, whoever was doing that. But the minute there's a murder scene, look up. Oh, it's so good. But yeah, I've been listening to Housewives of Orange County because I don't watch. But I don't know what kind of podcast I would be into then. So if people have recs,
I'll put up a question box.
I love that. A lot of my friends have gone into like health and wellness ones, and that's just not. I don't need to hear how unhealthy I am. I already know.
I know the basics. I don't need to go deep diving into it. I know I should exercise. I know I should eat healthy. I know there's some like basic stuff, but I'm not, and this is okay for other people to do. I don't want to make it my whole personality. My whole personality is pop culture and Bravo TV.
But did I tell you I am working with a dietitian or a nutritionist?
No.
Not a dietitian. Yeah, oh my God. I just met with her this past week. I'm on a strict meal plan and I hate everything about it.
You did not tell me this.
My friend is doing it for her wedding. And I have been for years. I know something's wrong with my body, but all the doctors are like, your tests are great.
You did say something with your gut.
Yes, something's happening. And so I was like, I'll try this nutritionist. I'll do 5 sessions with her. So basically she wrote out this whole plan and she's like, I think your blood sugar is off. I think you just haven't regulated your blood sugar in a long time. And I was like, but I'm very healthy and stuff. And she's like, no, but your body is not responding to the way you're eating. So you need to like reverse it. So basically, for the first week, I have to follow her very strict plan. And then I can slowly enter other things and like learn how to eat or whatever. Learn how to eat. I know how to eat. I just don't want to.
Did you do like a blood test to start it or? Yeah. Okay.
I did a blood test with my doctor and I gave her all my stuff. But my doctor said I'm perfect on my blood.
Okay.
But I've told her like this is where I'm struggling. Like physically, this is like what I want and my goals, and like I can't seem to meet there. And I do exercise. I do very like heavy classes a lot of the times. So like my body doesn't seem to be responding to that. And then I try to do low impact things. And then I feel like I need to eat less because I'm not burning as much. And she was basically like, no, you need to really like think about where you're getting your calories from.
Yeah.
And she said like when you're younger, you can lose weight very easily in a calorie deficit just by thinking about like what you're eating, like, you know, what you're eating versus
by
what
cutting
you're putting
things
out.
Yeah.
Which, well, no, it's just like you could eat all day long sugar as long as you're exercising more calories. But that's when you're young and your metabolism is great and like everything's nice. Now at like 30, your hormones are like kind of out of balance and like your blood sugar and your metabolism's not really a thing anymore. So you have to like work on it different. So basically she was like, I don't eat breakfast in the morning usually. And she's like, that's your first mistake. So your body immediately is like, doesn't have the blood sugar it needs.
Yeah.
And I was like,
and your
oh,
metabolism
have, like,
starts in the morning. Like if you eat.
So she's like, I need to eat like a certain, like a lot of protein and like a complex carb in the morning, which is going to be such a fucking issue because my God, do I wake up and roll out of bed to go to the office?
Yeah.
I really plan.
You just need to get stuff and like put it, do you have a like static desk? Like that's always yours? Like buy stuff for the office.
Yeah, I know, Meredith. I'm just complaining. My God. Why won't anyone? You sound like my mom. Just let me complain about how hard it is to be me.
I'm in.
And then for like a lot of the days, I won't eat breakfast. And then I'll like around 11 really quick grab a snack. Apparently, snacking between breakfast and lunch is a big no. She even said if you are hungry at 11, but you were planning to have lunch at 12, move lunch to 11. Do not get a snack. Have a full meal. I was like, damn, okay. So you should not snack between breakfast and lunch. That's a big no, a big absolute. And then for lunch, I'm supposed to have no carbs really. Just like a protein. If I'm having carbs at lunch, it needs to be from fruit at this point. And she did say we'll slowly like add things back and like figure it out, but I need to start from scratch.
That makes sense. Then, like clean the slate and then figure out a new plan.
And then you need to have a snack in between lunch and dinner. Because if you think about it, you wake up, let's even say you have breakfast around like 8 and then you have lunch at noon. That's only 4 hours. But then you don't have dinner till like 6 or 7. So now you're like really pushing it. So she goes, you need to have a snack of some sort of like protein and fat. So that's where you get your fats from. And so she's like, have cheese and like a meat stick, which I love a meat stick. So that snack is my favorite meal of the day.
We got her.
And then dinner, really no carbs, which kills me because I love to max at dinner. And so I'm supposed to eat white fish 3 times a week. So fucking sucks. Okay. So I bought all this shit and now I got to cook and I hate cooking. I hate it. I'm cooking and I'm doing it. And the best part about her though is if I know I'm going out to eat, I have to text her. Not have to, but I text her and then she'll tell me what I should order. Which
like,
is
do you
so
text
funny.
her the menu or like where you're going and then she'll pick something?
Yeah, I text her like where I'm going and she'll text me things to have ahead of time. But it's not that hard, right? Because the basic is like, here's where you have your complex carbs and your like protein. And then here you have more leafy greens and like whatever. And then here's where whatever. And so I've only been doing it for today is my second day on this stupid diet.
We're really in this. I'm dying. I'm sorry. I just thought you'd been doing this for weeks when you said like, oh, I'm like working with a nutrition. I'm like, I can't believe you've hidden this from me.
It's fresh of mind. And you know what I like to do Friday? I like to order in and I like to max out while watching TV. But guess what I'm going to do tonight? I got to make my tilapia. I got to make tilapia and Brussels sprouts.
I love tilapia. I love Brussels sprouts.
I do too, but I don't want to make it on a Friday night. The other thing I did learn... So that's how I'm supposed to eat. The other thing I learned is you're not supposed to eat the same thing every day at the same time. So like, you know how people will be like, because I do this.
The meal prep.
I'm hyper fixation. No, I will be like, I bought this many chicken breasts for dinner. I'm having chicken all week long. That is my dinner.
Man,
no,
I
you're
am
not
the
supposed
opposite.
to do that.
Like I guess my own palate helps me than this one.
You're not supposed to do it apparently. So, but I had tilapia and Brussels sprouts last night. I just want to have it again because it was good. I can have the tilapia 2 nights in a row, but I got to pick out a different veggie, which I don't want. And then because I told her I love to end the day with a dessert. And she's like, she goes at first, we can introduce it later. But at first, only have 100 calories of dessert a day. So I have my little chocolate chips that I eat at the end of the day. And I just sit there and I'm mad. And I maybe add some strawberries. And so stupid. No, I'm going to do it though. Because she's like, you're investing in your health. And she also said, her rule is if it's a thing you could easily get anytime, be healthy about it, like your options. But if it's like a really nice place you never go to or some like you're traveling, like go enjoy yourself, like get whatever. But like my friend is also using this nutritionist for her wedding. So she's like, I got to lose 25 pounds. And I'm like, I just want to live past 60, but only to 75. So this is to get me last 15 years.
How do I get right between that 60 to 75 year range?
I want the sweet spot. But like I went out to dinner with my friend and we both got the same thing, a burger. And she didn't eat the bun, so she just ate the burger, which that sucks. I would do maybe one bun.
That's insane.
I would maybe do one bun and not the other bun, you know? But we'll compromise.
No, I will always do both.
I know, I want the bun. And then she only had like a few of her fries, which also drove me nuts because I love fries.
Well, that's hard. I have to put my napkin in the like fries in the side so I won't touch it because like that's a boundary for me. Like I would never go back to fries like that. But if they're just sitting there, I'm a picker. If food is in front of me, I will keep eating no matter how full I am.
I know, same. That is my issue. And then I also like I grew up in a clean plate club family. You wanted to clean your plate.
Yeah.
So if it's on my plate, I got to clean it. So I'm not going out. Thank God I'm sick because I'm not going out and I am going to.
It's a lot easier to control, your own environment.
I'm trapped in here. I do got to say though, I haven't really been hungry. And to be honest, I haven't been craving anything besides like, you know, I would love to like know that I'm just eating like a chicken sandwich or something, but I'm not. You know, it's not like that bad actually yet.
Yeah.
Yet.
It's like things that sound good rather than like being like, oh, I must have this right now. It's like, oh, a chicken sandwich sounds good.
The other thing is, you know, I'm a good liar. That's why I have to do therapy in person because I'll get called out on my shit. It's harder for me to lie. But over the phone, right? I could get it done. She also is requiring I like write down everything I eat for the first like 2 weeks so she can just see how it's going and then we can remember and go over meals I liked, meals I didn't, and like whatever. I'm like, could I just lie?
Well, yes, but
I'm doing myself a disservice.
I was about to say, this is not like about shaming or if you do something wrong. It's just about information. It's data. Think about it just as data that's being collected.
I know. She also told me, which I knew, I don't drink enough water throughout the day. But yesterday I drank so much water and then I sneezed and I peed myself a little. I'm not kidding. I fully peed and I was like, oh my God. I was like in the kitchen. I was seasoning my tilapia.
Also, the U.S. culture drinks a lot of water. So I also sometimes am like, we're fine.
She said I gotta drink more. I gotta drink 16 ounces before I go to work, which I told her I'm gonna pee on the subway then.
Jesus. I mean, I can't do that because my bed to my desk is too short of a commute to do 16 ounces. But how much water did she tell you to drink a day?
A lot. I gotta drink a lot. She just said, if you think you've hit enough water, you haven't. And I said, oh. So I have this big water bottle. I've only drank one of these so far. I'm gonna try to drink 2 today.
I just go off my water needs based on the color of my pee.
No, same. But she said, well, yesterday, thank God, my pee was clear when it hit my pants. I literally, though, had to be like out loud.
It was all water. It was all water. You didn't pee yourself. Your water broke.
You know when things happen in your apartment, but you're like alone. So you're like, how do I go about this?
Constantly.
Out loud, I sneezed. And I went, oh. Like literally out loud. I went, oh my God, did I just pee?
The way I talk to myself when I'm alone is obscene.
Peed. Yeah, I literally to myself, I was like, I can't believe I just peed. And then I like ran to the bathroom. I was like, that's crazy. Out loud. This is all a monologue. I'm like, I can't believe I just peed. It's because I drank so much water. And I literally then out loud go, am I pregnant? No. Then why'd I pee? Like, I was like, wow, this has never happened.
Your body will get used to it as you drink more water, I think.
Oh, it was so funny, Meredith, that I was like, I should have a one-woman show. Like, truly.
Oh, my God.
Summer house, but it's just me in my apartment. Like, truly.
Trying to follow your nutritionist advice.
I'm trying to season my tilapia. I have a cold, I sneeze, and I peel it all. It was so real.
As you're trying to chug down the extra 16 ounces of water.
So this is my listening to my nutritionist.
Incredible.
That was great. Okay, well, we can end it there on my pee story.
Yeah, let's end it on a high like that.
Do you know that here's some background. Meredith lets our system sometimes pull clips that she posts. You know that they're going to pull my pee in my pants clip.
I can't wait to find out. You'll know because you'll have seen it online.
It's going to get posted. Oh, well, it's real. This is real life. You drink a lot of water. I'm being open and honest.
Amen. Unapologetically full of water and peeing it out.
Trying. Thank God I held it real quick. I was like, oh my God.
Stop it now.
It was so funny. It was so funny. Anyway,
God.
We can end the podcast now. This is great. We're done.
Another successful
Goodbye.
one. Thanks for joining. Bye.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.